Hello, good evening, everybody. It is around 7:15, and I just want to thank you guys for being here. You guys mean so much to me, and I appreciate you guys being here for my very first preaching. We have Silas Gastelum, Augustus Gastelum, and my sweet cameraman, my husband, Sergio Gastelum. I chose this song because it means a lot to me.
One more time.
And it says this.
I said he saw the best.
He saw the best in me. When everyone else around me could only see the worst in me. How many of you guys feel like that?
I wish I had a witness tonight.
Some people will look at you and they will see the worst in you, and they will say you can't do this and you can't do that. And I want to tell you right now, Jesus looks at you and he says, that is my boy, that is my girl, that is my child. And he accepts you. He sees the best in you. Because you do have greatness inside of you. And sometimes we just need help tapping into that. I know that I needed help. I know that I needed help, guys.
I just need to tell you one more thing.
Alright, guys. So, I needed help. I needed help finding the best in me. Because a lot of my life, I didn't have good things to support me and to give me encouragement. I had a lot of darkness in my life. And because of that, I did a lot of things that I didn't want to do, but I kind of just went along with it. And we will oftentimes do that. And I just want to encourage you today that even though, again, like I said, even though people look at you and they see the worst in you, Jesus sees the best in you. And I'm going to prove it right now. And I'm going to prove that Jesus gives everyone a chance. And we're going to go into Luke 7. And Luke 7, starting in verse 36, states, "Now one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to dinner with him. So he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. When a woman who had lived a sinful life in that town learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster jar of perfume. And as she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. When the Pharisees who had invited him saw this, Pharisee. He said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. Jesus answered him, Simon, I have something to tell you. Tell me, teacher, he said. 2 men owed money to a certain moneylender. One owed him 500 denarii and the other 50. Neither of them had the money to pay him back, so he canceled the debts of both. Now, which of them will love him more? Simon replied, I suppose the one who had the bigger debt canceled. You have judged correctly, Jesus said. Then he turned toward the woman and said to Simon, do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman, from the time I entered, has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore, I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, for she loved much. But he who has been forgiven little loves little. Then Jesus said to her, your sins are forgiven. The other guests began to say among themselves, who is this who even forgives sins? Jesus said to the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." Now, let me tell you, we see that in the Bible it says, when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, let me tell you, everyone was already looking at this woman, and they knew who she was. And they said, how dare she even go in the presence of Jesus? And he accepts her. She's a sinner. And Jesus knows everybody, and he looks at the Pharisee and calls him by name. And he says, "Simon, I have something to tell you." See, Jesus knows who you are. He knows your life. He knows what you've done. He knows your past, your present. He knows your future. And he knows that when you give him your sacrifice and your love, when you give him your praise, when you give him your worship, when you give him your sorrows, when you come to him with a heart that is hurting, but one that wants to be healed and knows that Jesus is the only way, he will forgive you, he will send you off in peace, and he will give you the right to come to him and be so close to him, and he will not deny you. He will not just say, "Stop crying. Don't put your hair on me, girl. Don't come close to me. You're a sinner. Don't touch me. If you touch me, now I'm a sinner. I'm dirty." No. When you go close to Jesus and you touch him, you're not dirtying him. He's cleansing you. And thank God that we have that, because in this world, it can be really muddy, and it can be really scary, and it can get really dark. And we can oftentimes run to things that make us even more dirty. But I promise you, when you come to Jesus, you will receive cleansing, you will receive healing, you will receive all the good things that Jesus has for you, and he knows you, and he accepts you as you are, and he will send you off in peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. Jesus has overcome the world, and we are in him and he is in us. We too can overcome. We can overcome. Okay, so what is sin?